What's going on YouTube? Snakebite here, and today we're going to be talking about the announcement that has finally been made. I'm going to kind of break everything down. Obviously, I assume most of you are probably coming from Twitter. We announced that Frosty is back on the team. He has joined Sentinels with myself, Royal 2, and Lethal, and obviously Frosty. That would be our team for Halo Infinite. I wanted to talk about kind of the process of everything. I want to go back in time a little bit and talk about the history of our team, talk about what had happened, our MCC stuff, and then follow it up with obviously now teaming with Frosty. Now, before we dive into how everything kind of came about, I want to dive into how we first started teaming with Frosty, right? Frosty, I'm sure many of you know. I don't think I need to list his accolades. But when Royal 2 and I started teaming with Frosty, he was on a team called EX, I believe, or I don't even know. He was getting top 8 in H2A, didn't know much about him. Fast forward to Halo 5, and he's this 18-year-old kid who is absolutely stomping everybody. I've told the story a couple times. I'm going to try to keep stuff somewhat short, but just so people understand context. Basically we were struggling on our team with Cloud on CLG at the time. It was myself, Royal 2, Ogre 2, and Cloud. We've been top 2 pretty much the whole year prior on Halo 2 Anniversary. We were struggling with Cloud to really solidify ourselves as the #1 team. And basically what ended up happening was, this Frosty kid rolls around in Halo 5. All of a sudden, he's quite clearly the best player in the game. Knew nothing about him. And, the idea kind of started getting thrown around. Frosty actually messaged Ogre 2 and said, hey, he said something like, hey, I think he said like, hey, I'd really like to join your team in place of Cloud. Lethal is going to message vouching for me, but he thinks we'd be too good, like XD or something like that. Fast forward probably a week, maybe 2, Royal 2 and I are talking about what we're going to do to become the best team, and the idea starts floating around a lot about teaming with those Frosty kids. So the first thing that we do, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning when we kind of come to this conclusion, like, okay, I think we might have to do this. And literally get 8s going somehow at 4 o'clock in the morning, play with Frosty on our team. Lethal, who wasn't on our team at the time, actually let him basically be on our team. I think he kind of knew what was going down. Later on down the road, we get Lethal, aka TJ, on our team. But first game we play with Brad, Frosty, he goes like plus 22 on a Kali flag game. I immediately messaged Royal 2 right after and was like, okay, so like we're signing him, So that's kind of a little bit of the backstory on how we started teaming with Frosty. Fast forward 5 years later, and we've won, I don't even know how many tournaments, if I'm being 100% honest. We've won 2 world championships. Obviously never placed outside of the top 2 in the 3 to 4 years that we had been teaming through all of Halo 5. Ended Halo 5 with a 2-peat. I can't even, like I said, this isn't like cocky. I can't list accomplishments because we've 2-peated, 3-peated, 4-peated a couple times to where there's no like real listing it out. If you're not aware of our team, I'll put a link of maybe like our team accolades. But yeah, we pick up Frosty, immediately go on to see success, besides the second place X Games. We're going to talk about that. But we went ahead and got first at regional. Immediately people are thinking we're the best team. We clicked immediately with Frosty and Lethal as well. Once we picked up Lethal, that was the real nail in the coffin of like knowing we're the best team in the game. So, we immediately see success in regionals. We win that event, go on to win the first world championships. Win an event after that. I think we get second at one event, and then we go on a 3-peat and win a second world championship. There's a lot of detail to cover and all of that, but honestly, I think most of the people watching probably know the success we had. Winning 2 world championships is no easy task, and obviously with Frosty and with Lethal and with Royal 2, we're a real team. And I think we kind of kept that through all of the MCC stuff, which I'll dive into in a little bit. But we worked the hardest. We wanted to win the most. Like we were a rare group of people that all wanted the same exact thing, and our play styles mixed absolutely perfectly. And if you go watch back the 2016 and 2017 years when we were like really, really developing as a team, you could see that. You could see the friendships, you could see the teamwork, and you could just see the overall every single day getting and being on the same page more than I think most people probably even realize. One of the best things about this team was that even if things weren't going 100% right, in practice stuff is going to go wrong. But even when things were going wrong, it was a constant work in progress that at the end of the day, when, we were done playing and we're just chilling out again and everyone's relaxing, the friendship side of it and, not getting frustrated is the important part, right? So that's the part that people don't necessarily see, but I think people still understood it. We were a real team, and I'm really excited to have that again. And I don't think that we didn't have it before, like when we had APG on our team, because again, I'll talk about it in a second, but APG absolutely crushed it on our team. Won 4 events in a row, 4 out of 6 of Halo 3, 4 in a row on H2A. I mean, come on, right? But I think with us three specifically, and then mixed between the Brads as we call them, we're a real team, and we rely on one another and we trust one another to see success, and that's a really important thing for a team to work. So obviously, fast forward through all of Halo 5, we win the 2 World Championships, win other tournaments here and there. Probably a little bit more than here and there, but we end Halo 5 on a 2-peat, which is really a big step for us in 2018. And then Halo announces it's going to go to these grassroots tournament, right? These grassroots tournaments, which I wasn't mad about. No one on the team was mad about. Everyone understood. We got kind of where the direction of stuff was going. Really, everyone's just waiting on Infinite. And at that time, Frosty decided to go play Call of Duty. Understandably so. We didn't have a problem with it on our team. He didn't leave our team for someone else, or it wasn't a performance issue with our team. It was just that, there were going to be a lack of Halo events, and, Frosty being, I think Brad was probably, I think he was probably 20. I think he was probably 20 when he had left. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on it. But fast forward to Frosty going to Call of Duty, and I understand the position he's in. Of he's this young, I don't want to say up and coming talent, but like just this young dominant talent in esports, right? And for Frosty, he's such a young kid, being that he's 20 still. He has a lot of years left, and I think everyone on our team does overall. But to switch another game is a different gear. One of the reasons why I haven't done it, I know Roll 2 hasn't done it, and Lethal haven't done it. It's just that we've already solidified ourselves in Halo so much, where we're kind of banking on Infinite is going to be huge, and we didn't need to go. But for Frosty, it was all about the competition, and understandably so, wanted to go play a different game in this downtime. So no, didn't have an issue with it. There was a couple things that I've talked about in my stream of like could have been handled better the way that we did it, or the way that he had left and stuff like that, but it's all water under the bridge. Brad and I have talked about it since then. We didn't really have like some massive problem about it, but I think it was just a frustrating time overall. Like, our team didn't have a problem with it, but obviously we were frustrated that we would then have to go find a new fourth and, dive into this MCC stuff. Brad started playing in a couple of the tournaments, which was, you get what I mean. But so fast forward to MCC, and not really fast forward, we're kind of on the timeline for the MCC stuff. We decided to pick up APG. Now, APG was as soon as I found out that Frosty was going to go to Call of Duty, APG was the first person that I had messaged. And that's 100% truthful. You could ask him that. I literally messaged him about, he was on Renegades at the time. This was right before the last event. And I just said, I was like, hey, obviously I knew that we were going to be going to Halo 3 after this event. And I just said like, hey, do you know what you're doing team-wise after this? And he said, no. And I said, okay. Don't lock yourself down. Like, let's talk after the event. So immediately knew I wanted to go team with APG, as well as the team did. And I think our success really, I could not be happier with how we performed throughout all of the MCC stuff. It's a different curveball. You're playing old games. People are a little bit more on your level. Because of it being an old game, there's not a lot of learning curve like Halo 5 had, especially in the first 2 years. But with APG, our first for the Halo 3 season, we won 4 out of 6, I think it was, for Halo 3. Halo Reach, then you go to Halo Reach. We won most of the online qualifiers, won, I think, every scrim but one. Had a bad LAN event, which people kind of chalk up, but it's whatever. It happens. It happens to the best of them. It happened to us in Halo 5. Where you would be clearly be the best team, and you just couldn't get it done on that day. And that's why tournaments can be quite scary in that way. In that it's about who the best team is, but it's about who the best team is on that day. So get 4 out of 6 in H3, win most of the Reach stuff minus the LAN thing that we got third. Go to H2A and we win 4 in a row. Didn't drop a scrim. Won 4 Pro Series in a row. I think it was an awesome run to have with APG. I think it was already known at what a high caliber player APG is. So to bring him onto our team and show that he can fit into this structure, I think it was really important to him, and hopefully meant a lot to him as it did to me. APG and I had been friends since 2009, or 2008, sorry. So to finally get him onto our team, we've always competed against each other. To get him onto our team and to win with him was really special and, an awesome time. Now, this is the reason why I wanted to make this video specifically. So, hopefully everyone's all caught up. You could have just skipped to this point, I guess, if you already knew all the history of it all. But dropping APG, right? So basically what had been happening or was happening was that, I'm trying to piece it all together. It's been a while. So basically teams were starting to lock up for Infinite. This is before the delay of Halo Infinite. So teams are starting to lock up. At some point, where Frosty's still playing Halo, occasionally streaming and stuff like that. And the conversation comes up of when after this year, would he want to come back or not or whatever? And he was interested. He was interested in, when Call of Duty was done for the year, in playing Halo. So immediately, kind of a panic set in our team because we knew that people were starting to lock up and get ready for Infinite. So our concern for APG was, holding him too long. The way to explain this is I think everyone understands that when Frosty decided to come back at some point in this timeline, right? And we'll kind of get to it more. When Frosty decided to come back, I think everyone understands why we would go back to teaming with Frosty, right? We had been teammates for 3-4 years. The success speaks for itself. We never had a personal issue, anything like that. Our team never split up because of some major issue, right? And that's what you always look for. So I think everyone understood why we were going back to Frosty. But my concern and our concern with APG is that when we released him, I didn't want to have everyone else already locked up and 100% sorted out their teams. There's a lot of rosters that have already figured out, a lot of teams have already figured out their deal for Infinite, right? People are going to be under contract already, teams are already sorted. There's not a lot of moving parts anymore, which is why at the time, if you guys remember it, when we released him, it was because we weren't 100% sure if Frosty was coming back or not. We knew that there was an interest there, obviously. But we looked at it as we would never forgive ourselves if we kind of led APG on thinking he was going to be on our team. And then if Frosty came back, we would release him and he'd be stuck without a top 4 team. So ultimately, we decided to go ahead and release APG and kind of just figure it out, wait on Frosty and wait it out and see what was going to happen. Now, around this time, funny enough, not really funny enough, kind of just stressed me out beyond all belief. Around this time that this is all happening, Frosty is winning Call of Duty events and doing really really well. So I'm kind of sitting there like, we dropped Brad at some point in this. We dropped APG, and Frosty's doing incredibly well in Call of Duty, and I'm like, oh my god, like the time, of course the timing of this is how it's gonna happen, right? And Brad loves Call of Duty. Like Brad being Frosty loves Call of Duty, so it was just a matter of what ended up happening, right? But still, nonetheless, like obviously when they're winning, it's looking less and less likely for us, right? And that's okay. It was okay because at the end of the day, I was gonna feel okay knowing that we gave APG the best shot. We were hoping Frosty would come back, and if not, we were going to go look elsewhere because, and I won't go into names of people we were looking into or anything like that, but at the end of the day, we just want to make sure we were doing right by APG, who had done so right by us. So the time was pretty stressful. I'm not going to lie. We replaced APG, basically not actually having a confirmed 100% fourth. We were hoping it'd be Frosty, but we weren't 100% sure. Then you fast forward to Frosty doing really well in Call of Duty and winning events, to the infinite delay. Now, this time period of Halo Infinite being delayed has been extremely stressful because, I think everyone's in an understandable spot, right? So we were hoping Frosty would come back, and it was looking likely. Like after the Call of Duty season, he was even more interested when it was all said and done, like Champs was over and everything was, whatever. Infinite is delayed at this point, and you can't blame him, but he decides that he is going to kind of try to see what his options are in Call of Duty, and understandably so, because with the delay, we don't know when the game's actually coming out. We have our clues and our ideas of when we think the game's coming out, but the truth of the matter is we don't really know. We don't have a concrete, this is when the game will come out answer, right? So Infinite gets delayed, and it kind of just made us seem I don't know what the word would be. It kind of just made it seem a little bit crazy, I feel like, because, here we had this winning team with APG, and we replace him, and we basically don't have a fourth. So people were kind of like, what is happening, right? So it was tough. It was tough not being able to talk about everything, be open about it. The one thing I do want to say, you see I'm rocking the Sen. Like, no joke, I don't want, this is a video about our team and Frosty and everything, but I cannot go without saying that Sentinels have been nothing but amazing. Genuinely, like, when I say we're stressed out about this stuff, it was never an issue with them. Like, they were 100% on board with whatever our team needed, what we needed. With the delay, they weren't, it never affected our relation. It doesn't affect and didn't affect our relationship with them, period. Like, cannot speak more highly of them. So if any of them are watching, thank you. We appreciate you. And we're really looking forward to, Halo Infinite. I literally cannot wait to play Halo at an extremely high level for thousands and thousands of viewers, trying to, repping Sentinels and trying to grow something with them. But, back to the timeline. I think that people were kind of confused, and understandably so, because obviously, we're a winning team. When we made the team change, we had literally just finished winning 4 in a row. Like, we figured out in that 4th week what we were going to do, and we're like, okay, let's play in this last Pro League with APG, and then we're going to talk to Brad. And APG, I could talk about it a little bit, but APG was very understanding. He understood. Obviously, he was frustrated. You can't act like you're not understanding of it. Even he understood the aspect of like Frosty coming back and whatever, but obviously at the end of the day, it's just gonna kind of suck no matter what when you're on a winning team and then that team makes a change to hopefully keep being a winning team. I get it, but luckily we're still on great terms with APG. He has himself a really great team heading into Infinite. That's for him to announce, but he landed on an awesome team for Halo Infinite, which I'm really, really happy for him. And it's why the timeline of why we did what we did. Now, obviously, to the end part of this story, Frosty has finally committed to Halo Infinite and to our team. I couldn't be more excited for it. It's kind of what I had hoped was going to happen happened. I wouldn't have really wanted to replace APG with anyone but Frosty. So me personally, I'm sure the guys will maybe talk about on streams and stuff, but me personally, this is kind of the only outcome that I had wanted. So I'm really happy. Our success and stuff speaks for itself, but at the end of the day, I'm just excited to be like teaming with him again, because not just as an individual talent, but like the friendships that we had outside of that, it's going to be, hopefully we can keep progressing and keep becoming a great team for Halo Infinite. But having him back on our team is going to be really enjoyable, just in and out of game. So I'm just excited to be playing with him again. Obviously, he's an absolute ridiculous individual talent. Having played against him a couple times, after we've teamed in Halo 5, I could say I'm very, very, very glad to have him back on the team and not be competing against him. We got him. We got him a couple times. If Brad, if you're watching, we got you. But trust me, I'm glad to have him on our side instead of playing against him. All right, so that kind of sums up pretty much everything. I'm sorry, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but with how much uncertainty there was and questions there was, we've had a lot of supporters for a very long time. Royal 2, Lethal, and myself, and Royal 1, and, even Wes as our coach from 2016, right? We've had a lot of supporters from day one. For those who wanted to listen to this and kind of hear the timeline and understand how things became about and what happened, I just want to kind of make this video for them. I want to say thank you, for real. Like, from day one, the amount of love that we get is insane. And our team with both Frosty and APG, we have a lot of passion for what we do, and we care a lot. And I think anyone who supports us and has supported us through the years knows that, and knows how important winning is to us. So this video is really just about explaining everything and hopefully giving a little bit of insight that people maybe wanted. I'm really, really excited for Halo Infinite. Obviously, I don't know when the game's actually going to come out, but I'm really, really excited. Infinite's going to be a crazy time, and it's really cool having, Halo 5 really changed my life. So it's really cool having the team that I participated with in Halo 5 that changed my life, hopefully continue doing that going forward. So appreciate y'all. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Sorry it's a little lengthy. Ayo, I know you're going to crush the video, but I'm sorry, brother. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.